Okay. So still coming up, giving him 3 minutes. And I'll restart this. So I want to thank everybody for coming to this show this morning. I know you have other places to be, and I really appreciate time. This topic is how to create deal flow and find motivated sellers on LinkedIn. So I'm just going to jump in here. I think CD's back on. I hope he is. He's not going to miss a big lot, but I need to get started for everybody else. So here we go. So I want you to pay careful attention today. The ability to create acquisition deal flow is by far one of the most profitable skills you can ever hope to learn. And if you master this skill, you'll never have to worry about acquiring a business again. Now, this is something I've learned myself over my own acquisitions. I've been involved in 3 personally. I bought an e-commerce company, I bought another little business that I bought and sold. There's CD right there. I bought an e-commerce company called, it was Perfect Hearing Aids. We sold hearing aids, and then I built it. It almost died, rebuilt it, and then sold it on Empire Flippers. But this is just a skill you want to learn. The ability to create good deal flow and find motivated sellers, because that's the key. That keyword right there is rare. And if you acquire this skill, you can virtually write your own ticket. And I'm not only talking about yourself, but if you're working for somebody else that's seeking to grow a business and they have money to pay you. So, but in the same turn, creating deal flow can be intimidating. And a lot of people have this, there's a lot of coaches out there. They'll say, hey, you can acquire the business, no money out of pocket, no money down. But I want to kind of just set your expectations. Actually acquiring a business is a difficult process because there's a lot of moving parts in it. It's finding great deals. It's negotiating, it's raising capital, it's closing, and then it's running the business. And that is a really big process if you don't have all the pieces to the puzzle right there. I don't know if you know this, but search funds, how search funds work right now is it's a private equity firm that funds people to go out looking for businesses. And they will give the search funder, the seeker, $200,000 as an example for 2 years. So they know it may take 2 years to find a business. Now that's a long, I've seen some people acquire a business in 30 days. I've seen some people do it in 2 years. I just want to set your expectations. It can be intimidating, and I'd say 90% of people that try to acquire a business don't, because they don't have the skills to find enough good deals. Skills also meaning you need to partner with people where you don't have those skills. Like if you're a great finder or seeker and you create great deal flow, but you need somebody with capital, find somebody that's great at raising capital. So a lot of people usually find one broker site, they try to make it a good deal. You know, the good news is you really can learn how to create deal flow for yourself if you've got like a good-hearted soul like yourself to willing to offer same deal flows that I use, take the mystery out of it. So here we go. What you're doing today is exactly what somebody making $200,000, $300,000 a year sitting in a private equity firm. You identify a pool of target companies, you contact each target, you schedule and participate Zoom calls. Well, sorry, I had to admit somebody in. You collect due diligence info, pro con, you put an assessment onto it, and then negotiate price in terms of each deal. This is no different than somebody sitting in a private equity firm does. So that's what you'll be doing. Who am I? John Stoddard. I've actually been using LinkedIn since 2007, got 18,000 followers. CEO of Stack Acquisitions. We acquire exceptional companies, we'd like to say. That's how I reach out to people. I'm also the host of the M&A Entrepreneurs Podcast. I love interviewing people that have done more than I have. That's how I learn. I used to run a company called Investor Acquisition Advisors. We raised capital for crowdfunding, Reg A companies. My partner and I, we did about $100 million.
You still got 3 hours pretty much.
Can you please put yourself on mute back there? Thank you.
Did you work yesterday?
One of the companies I helped was Novo Integrated Sciences. We helped them with acquisitions. All right, so hold on one second. I've got somebody that's not on mute, and I need to put on mute.
They got tired.
And please
doing that.
mute.
I think you can mute the entire.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a button here.
I'm not doing that.
Hold on, sorry. I got somebody.
I'm gonna cancel tomorrow. I'm gonna just start doing 2 a week. I'm not doing all this.
Freak is the mute
Because I don't get to go to gym. I'm eating horribly. I'm gaining.
Yes. There we go. Somebody's having a conversation. All right. So Century Hearing Aids, I bought that. I actually bought that from a broker about 10 years ago. I turned it around. It was kind of a distressed situation. I probably didn't do enough due diligence on it and probably overpaid. I did a lot of the wrong things. That's why I won't buy on broker sites again, unless it's a great deal and the broker's working. I rebuilt that, sold that on Empire Flippers. I bought a business course that was really profitable for a while, but I had to shut it down after 6 months because, kind of like Google, Yahoo changed their ad policy 6 months into owning it, and boom, had to shut it down. I was the co-founder of TurboSquid. It's a marketplace for 3D assets. We raised some capital from Intel, Advantage Capital, and that was actually sold to Shutterstock many, many years later. I do have a degree from Northern Arizona University, and that was paid for by going to United States Air Force, where I got a ride in F4. So my very first acquisition when I was in a teen, I grew up in a small town. I bought a calf at an auction for $90 and I sold it for $1,000. So that was my first acquisition, and I kind of fell in love with it. So let's talk about some other outbound methods. I'm not saying this deal flow with LinkedIn is the only way you should go here. I just want to make a comparison of what you could do. Now, if you ran some ads, Facebook, Google, PPC, or something like that, you're going to be spending a lot of money, like $15,000, $5,000 a month. We kind of explored this with a couple. I haven't done the advertising in a long time and searching for a business because it's so cost prohibitive. You can do direct mail. Direct mail is a great way to do it. If you get a list from Data Axle, you get a first class letter and you mail and then call, follow up. That's going to be kind of expensive. You can do conferences. Not a lot of people are pulling out the stops to go to conferences, but if you can get a TED conference and talk about that, you can do that. There's podcasts, great way to do it. Get on podcasts, talk about your expertise, and then say, hey, what you're looking for. There's a guy out of Canada that does real well with this, Andrew Wilkinson. He owns a company called WeCommerce, and he owns a small company called Tiny Capital. It's 44 companies, I think. You can do emails. I know somebody's really good at doing cold emails. Yeah, I guess you have to warm up the IP address to make sure those delivered. I think those are a lot better for offline businesses than online because online has just higher security. Those are just some of the other outbound methods. I'm not saying mine is the only method. I'm just saying what those costs are for the other methods. So let's talk about how many on-market deals where they're sold through a broker are available. And I just put some numbers here together. Here's all the websites that I found. Now, there's probably some more out there, but let's say there's about 30 of those. And each one, I'm generously giving each one 500 listings. Now, that's not true, but I'm just giving each one 500. I think most of them will have 10 or 20. Biz Buy Sell will probably have, 500, 600. They usually lead in that. But that means there's 15,000 on-market businesses for sale. That's it in the online. I want to talk about on-market deals for on-market. On-market deals is a business is for sale. It's a serial entrepreneur probably. They have a desire for cash, and there's a broker involved. Let me admit that guy. Off-market deals, it's not listed for sale or advertised. That means there are fewer entities to bid up the price. There's more time for due diligence. And there's a greater likelihood that the seller will entertain your creative financing offer. Does everybody know what I mean, creative financing? That usually means what I'm talking about is, hey, would you take a smaller down for seller financing? Or that's kind of a creative deal versus going out and getting a SBA loan for 90% of the business. All right, so most off-market deals have these characteristics. They're exhausted. It's the top reason a business is sold and then required to change ownership. They're stagnated. The owner feels he has taken the business as far as they can. They're just tapped out. Or unfortunately, they have a lifestyle change. Owners themselves, they get sick, they get cancer, they die, they got to turn it over to the family. Now, this is usually an unfortunate situation, but it does happen very frequently. Your job, and I can't tell you what to do, but it's not to take advantage of people like this, but to help them solve their issues, what they're looking for in a nice offer. All right, so here's why you're here is talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn has 800 million members. 40% of LinkedIn users change their job or company every 4 years. 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn drive business decisions. There's 58 million companies here on LinkedIn. And now you can go on Sales Navigator and you say, hey, I want to do a search for how many businesses between 1 and 20 million in revenue. There's 770,000. Well, that's an error. So take that out. There's 770,000 businesses with 1 to 20 million. There's plenty of them. I mean, if you went through 5,000 businesses, line it up and just say, hey, are you for sale? Hey, are you for sale? You're going to find one. So that's why LinkedIn. Now, how does the deal flow equation work out on LinkedIn? This is where John Stoddard comes in, where he spends an inordinate amount of time and figure out what works, what does not work, and what gets me to have appointments on my calendar where I can call them. Then I say, hey, are you interested in selling your business? I do the due diligence. I ask them, like, what are you going to do after you retire? And that's deal flow, having conversations with seller. So it's based on an equation where deal flow comes from, how we get deal flow, and how we increase that deal flow. So let's get into it right here. Here's the equation. There's positioning, there's promotion plus the process equals deal flow. That's what puts appointments in your calendar. So this brings me to a very crucial point. If you're going to acquire a business, the first thing you need to do is you're going to have to learn how to position yourself as a serious buyer. And a serious buyer is you take yourself seriously. You look like you have the cachet. You look like you have the cash. You look like you have the financing. You look like you've done it before. And as we know, in today's world, people are really great about this. The people at the top, hold on, let me admit Ryan. It's about creating intrinsic value or social capital. That's what you're worth. And that's what you want your market to think about you on LinkedIn. And you know what? Because it's a social media platform and you create it, you can define what you want it to be. It's also where you say, I'm going to stake my claim here. I'm going to plant my flag in the marketplace. You know, I'm this person. This is what I stand for. This is my superpower. This is where I stand against. This is where you say, hey, I'm great at niching. I had one of my customers for Deal Flow System actually said, hey, I'm only going to acquire SAP software installers. Great niche, really big industry, great niche. And the magic is at the top of the celebrity, it's more in demand. It's magnetic to money. It's magnetic to deal flow. And the social capital can be engineered on LinkedIn out of thin air. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing you're going to do is start with your LinkedIn profile. And I want you to think of your LinkedIn profile as a direct marketing landing page. Your landing page needs to match the needs of your prospects. So if you reach out to somebody and say, hey, look, I'm seeking for a company to acquire. They need to know if they come back to your landing page that you can acquire that company, or you can acquire it, take it over and run it, because they may want to say, hey, I got to have a legacy here. I want to protect my employees. I don't want you to just buy it and close it. So in the general goal of a landing page is to convert visitors into sales or deal flow leads. And let me show you what this looks like. This is a screenshot of everything on a my page. You've got the banner, you've got headshots, you got the headline, you got the hashtags, resources, featured section, about section, experience. And the first thing I want to do is talk about the banner. This is a lot of times what people waste opportunities on. If you had a great banner and in 2 seconds or less, you told what you did, what you're looking for, what you stand for, what you stand against, that's an opportunity to get a deal flow. And let me show you something. Here's the best guy in SEO in the planet. This is his banner for the last 5 years. You want more traffic? Here's what Neil Patel does. Here is a guy that has Justin Welsh, who's got a course on LinkedIn. It's just a general course. This isn't an old banner, but Chris Larson. But anyway, he changed that, and people change their banners all the time. Does everybody know who this is? This is Seth Godin, kind of a marketing guru out there with 20 books or so. This is Ronnie. I liked her profile because it tells you exactly what she does. And you notice her necklace actually matches the same color as her banner here. And she's in New South Wales, Australia. Here's Lee Davey. Here's exactly what he does. 1000dayssober.com, control alcohol in 30 days. You know exactly what he does. Here's mine. This is an old one. And I change it frequently just because we can. And you're always looking for a better conversion rate, because you may be on a different project and you want a better conversion rate. So the second one is great headshots versus bad headshots. I've seen these headshots on LinkedIn, fuzzy, took it in a bad position, hiking somewhere, we can't tell, just got out of a frat party, and great, you play guitar. That's unprofessional. Now, I'm not saying go totally, but you can really get a good professional headshot. Somebody else doing it with great lighting and a little bit of effects in the back, but run it by somebody before you upload it. The headline. Next. This is where you stake your claim, where you plant your flag in the marketplace. Hey, I'm this person. It's what I stand for, my superpower, what I stand against. It also helps you in search. So if you see right here, John Stoddard, I'm an investor. So if somebody's typing into LinkedIn, I go, I'm looking for investors, I'm going to come up in their search. And a lot of times I have conversations. I mean, when you're having conversations, that is action and activity. If you don't have the right keywords there, they're just not going to find you. Here's Roland Fraser. I took a course from him. I help founders grow and exit. He's an investor and business mentor. Here's Carl Allen. Here's another guy that helps people buy businesses. He's an investor, deal maker, Wealth Society. Nick Bradley, he's into private equity out of the UK. He's actually moving to Florida. He helps mature businesses grow a lot faster through acquisitions. You can see it. He's a podcast host. He's an investor, M&A entrepreneur. Michael Beroslavsky. I did an interview with him. He's in Thailand. He's a business buyer investor. He buys these small businesses, like 200,000 in revenue to $1 million in revenue. And then he applies 4 things to them. His skills, certain set of skills like SEO or keywords or backlinking or rebuilding the site, whatever it is, fixes them and then sells them. And he's actually raising capital. He's got a couple of funds, very successful, but you can see what he's doing. You know what he's doing, acquiring and growing profitable businesses. All right. So make investor time and money. And if you want to put something else on, like a mentor, it's better than coach or consultant. All right. Hashtags. Hashtags are here, talks about business leadership. So if somebody's doing a search and they hashtag, you want the right hashtags so you come up in their search. You want reach, you want relevance, and you can share content with like-minded people. And the algorithm, LinkedIn's algorithm, is exactly going to put that in front of people who will want to engage with it, especially your followers. All right, so there is a little feature on there. It's called creator mode. You can get in there, jump in there, and create this. These are the hashtags you create: business, leadership, acquisitions, entrepreneur. That's what I choose. That's what I like. That best fits me. Creator mode, you saw that. Creator mode. It also can help you build your followers 5x faster because of those hashtags. All right, so. And LinkedIn could highlight your original content because you have this creator mode on if you're doing a lot of content. Featured showcase. There's three sections down there. You can add about 5. I put my videos, my interviews with guys like here. Like I had Joseph B. Anderson. He's an entrepreneur. He's probably bought, I don't know, he's 13 companies, really bigger companies, like from 50 million to 100 million. And I put his video there for featured showcase, and it really cranked the number of views on my YouTube. It's up to 9,000 right now. I've moved on to somebody else in my featured, but rotate that, keep that fresh, but use that. The about section. This is a section where you basically use your direct marketing and copy skills. If you don't have that, you can use this kind of template here. So the first thing you want people to think about is if you're sending a connection request, you want to meet somebody or you want to buy their company, and you send them something and they land on it, is it for me? 2, why should they care? 3, what's the outcome? Is this what they want? 4, do I have my personal solution? 5, how do I know it works? 6, call to action. What should I do next? And you could tell a backstory here, where you started from. Relevancy matters here. Be authentic. Use keywords. Use action words. Make sure you proofread it there before send it off to you. It does have a spell check in there and it'll let you know, but it's not perfect. So this is also helping SEO. Experience, here's my thought about experience. You don't have to create your resume, everything in there. I don't think we're doing that anymore where it's perfect. You have to send a resume. Just feature your best, what you want to present to people, stack acquisitions. I've actually changed this since then because I wanted to add top M&A entrepreneurs, my podcast. Because to me, right now, that's the tip of the spear to find deal flow. So again, relevancy matters, authenticity, keywords, action words in here, proofread it, make sure you proofread it before you send it out. All right, so let's go on the next one. Oh, so I got a couple questions. Not me, Azaka. All right, so, all right, promotion, which is the second part of the equation, plus promotion. A promotion is where you're pre-framing. This is what content people see that creates a level of trust. And it's how you make them feel and the desire you create about yourself. It's pre-framing. So if 100 people read that you're great, or, on the other end of the spectrum, that you're bad, they're not going to contact you. If you're great, they're more likely to contact you. And I'll tell you this is where your deal flow is directly proportional to the amount of goodwill that you created. And on LinkedIn, this is the whole thing about LinkedIn. When you educate, you actually assume authority. It's like the teacher. And if you're creating disruptive insights, insights that people don't know about, like how to do this, because you'll always be, if you're learn something like this, there'll always be people in front of you and there'll be people behind you. And there's so many people, like I said, 800 million people on LinkedIn. There could be another 500,000 people behind you want to learn and know what you know. And when you motivate and inspire, you create loyalty. And there's another little error in there I got to fix. All right. So one other thing you could do, launch a new company. That is updates. When you're adding a new feature on your, you want to make sure you have this on button right here, because what it does is it sends out a notification to all of your followers that I should congratulate you for starting a new position as a proprietor. That's an example that I found that what it does. And that's another, attention getting little device to keep top of mind awareness. Newsletters. You guys, I just started newsletters. I saw this in creator mode and I started newsletters, and I already have 3,127 people on my LinkedIn newsletter. It's essentially it's an article that turns into a newsletter where it notifies if I write something once a week or if I put a new podcast, it notifies people of my new episode. So 3,124. I only started it 3 months ago. Posting quality content. This is kind of the key to LinkedIn. I have a whole list of types of content you want to post here, but I'm going to go really fast through this, and just pick out short, pithy stories, failures, mistakes, lessons, share something you recently studied or attended, myths, reality, problems and outcomes. People really love that. If you saw somebody build a company and where they failed, what didn't work, what worked, and then they finally prevailed and built the company. I love stories like that. Educate, motivate, inspire, transformational outcomes, be vulnerable, be authentic, ask for readers' opinions, because you want to get them to like, comment, and get some juice behind that post. I don't like the graphics so much where somebody takes a graphic of their Twitter post. It works for some people. Some people it doesn't. So remember these give and take laws. Your deal flow is directly proportional to the amount of goodwill you create. Help is actually the digital currency on LinkedIn. When you help others, you actually help yourself. So I love doing the podcast because, if I talk to a guy that's bought 30 companies for hundreds of $millions, I'm learning and I'm sharing. I love doing that. Creating content, a little bit more deeper dive. And I want to say this about creating content. Don't worry about that. Just put it out, because creating content on LinkedIn is like a cat with a roll of toilet paper. I mean, if they hit it real hard, that little post, that little square is gone. Nobody's going to see it. You could probably post the same thing 6 times a week and you're not going to have the same person comment and see it on it. There's just so many people on LinkedIn. And the more followers and connections you have, the more content you probably should be creating. All right. So there is a key to getting more people to like and comment. You got to have a trigger headline. You got to be creative with the layout. You see all these people write something here, a couple spaces, write something here, a couple spaces right there. Longer posts do actually better. Tag people to spark a conversation. It's like putting money in a tip jar. Using hashtags helps. Always use a call to action to say, hey, look, if you want this PDF, put, I want the PDF in the comment section. That gets it posted. I do want to show you something that's kind of important on this now about the analytics. So if I show you this, how many people have profiled your profile in the last week, how many impressions, this is the 1665 is over 90 days. What you want is, getting impressions. The more people you the more content you put out there on your feed, the more impressions you get. That means the more people are going to go to your profile to see who you are. All right. So you need call to action, like follow me on LinkedIn or subscribe to YouTube or go sign up for a newsletter or go buy a low cost product or download this for free. That's kind of a call to action examples. All right. Follow, like, comment on people you want to connect with. Now, if you're wanting to get an interview, like Joseph Anderson, I wanted to get an interview with him because he was in Vietnam. He's kind of a war hero, and all the men that he served under him came back, and then he started buying companies, and just somebody I wanted to get in contact with for probably 20 years, and then I just made this connection, but it took a while. Kent Clothier's another guy that I met through another guy. So, oh my God, he's buying all kinds of company in real estate. But it took a long time to connect with him. So you want to do that. You want to comment 10 times more than you post. You kind of ask a question in his feed. If he puts something out there, you like it, you comment on it. Maybe you state a data point. Maybe you take a controversial viewpoint. Don't write nonsense answers like, hey, I agree, great post. That doesn't go anywhere. All right. So, and the reason you're going to do this is the person you're following will be notified in his notifications that you personally liked or commented on his post. And if you keep doing it over a period of time, they're going to connect with you if you reach out. So the goal is to do business with them or expand their reach to their network. That's building social capital. So here, like hitting the content bell, if I go to Neil Patel and I see this little bell in the right-hand corner, I want to click on that because I am going to be notified when he posts something. And if I know it feels like a mad rush, but if you see a post and there's nobody commented on, you're the first one, you're likely to be seeing your comment first out of maybe 200 others that happen there. And post classified ads. This, folks, works really great for me. Out of all the outreach I do, all the stuff I do, posting exactly what I'm looking for works great. And I just want to show you some stats that happen. I posted this. I only post once per month because if you do it too much, it's like spoiled milk. People are just not going to read anymore. So once a month, I post out there. That one got 997. That one got 3,574. This one, 2,000. That one, 4,000. And I'll tell you, the one I did last month did 12,000. So if you had 11,513 people seeing your ad, people are going to respond to it, whether they're followers, first connections, or second connections, people that saw that, because it just works. This is one of the things I want you to try. Like, just get back there and write a classified ad and post it. Just see what it does on a Friday. Not as many people are on LinkedIn on a Friday, but just see it. So, hey, at this point, I just kind of want to check in. How's everybody doing? Just kind of put a, hey, something like, hey, good stuff. Got to let Sebastian know such impact. Just let me know everybody's awake and sleep and ready to go. Just put something in the message. If not, we'll just get going. Good stuff. All right. CD Parker. All right, great. Here we go. Let's go to the next one. Good tips. This is everything. This is, you can do yourself. So this is a guy I knew, hey, I live in Tucson now. We should grab lunch. You got a better Eric Slow. Eric and I, he's got a software company doing $2 million a year. It's, lumpy profits, but we had a conversation. We kind of made an offer for it. We decided to rescind the offer. I'm just saying it happens. That's deal flow. You can network in groups. There's a lot of groups out there. Now, whatever industry you're in, let's say if you're going to get in the HR industry and you want to be HR companies, there's a lot of groups out there that are specifically targeted to human resources. You could join those groups and you could network with people inside there, and you could also make posts in the group. Like here's private equity, M&A, venture capital. You can make posts in there. You can reach out directly to people in the group, have a conversation with them, and I'll let you know that you can invite them to your event. That's another thing, but also it doesn't affect your connection request limit per week. You know, LinkedIn's got this connection request. If you have Sales Navigator, it's like 225 per week. If you don't have the paid version, I think it's 100 per week. Then they limit it. So if you go over 100, you can't make any more connections. But if you go to groups and say, hey, I want to work, I want to talk to Martin Vella, and I send him a message, it doesn't affect. I could send 200 more, 500 more. And there's in this group right here with Richard Wilson owns this private equity. He's got 300,000 people in the group. All right, so let's go on the next one. You can create a LinkedIn event, webinar, tell people what you're doing, tell people what you're working on, teach people something. Here's an example. I've done 4 or 5 of these webinars. I think total first one had 214 attendees. The second one had 500 people RSVP. The third one had 200. And this one, it's smaller, I think 58, 60, something like that, but they all count and they just add up. You can do that. And by the way, all you need is a Zoom, do a meeting, and webinars are one-to-many events. You can do a webinar and invite everybody on LinkedIn for free. You don't have to spend any money to acquire a customer or acquire an attendee to your webinar. You can get on podcast. This is a really big opportunity here. Whatever you're doing, whatever story you have, you can reach out to people and get on podcasts. It's a great way to get your message out to their audience. Here's the guy. This is Andrew Wilkinson. He's got a little company called Tiny Capital. He's made 44 acquisitions. He said, and I saw him on a podcast, said, getting on podcasts, somebody else's podcast, is a really great way to get deal flow because I get to tell my story. People they want to sell out to somebody and they contact me on LinkedIn or Twitter. And how do I find podcasts to be a guest on it? Well, that's actually pretty easy. Just type in, do a search for podcast, and there's 393,000 results. So give it a shot. Try to get on a podcast and say, hey, you need guests, because we always need guests. Now, my only one requirement for being on my podcast is that you are acquiring companies. So if everybody here has not acquired a company, reserve the date. I want you on my podcast after you acquire a company. I want to hear your story. It's like the new radio. Podcasts are like the new radio. And as a guest, you can expand your message, your brand to entirely new audiences. You can also hone your message. All right. So let's go back to what we're doing here is, again, identifying a pool of targets. You're going to contact each target, schedule and participate in Zoom calls, collect due diligence info, pro-con risk assessment on the deal, negotiate price and terms. Now, this is exactly what somebody getting paid $200,000, $300,000 sitting in a private equity firm does. So that's what you're doing here. Now we're going to talk about the section where your outreach, you're the hunter, not the gatherer. You're reaching out to go identify a pool of target companies, and you're going to contact each of those companies, each target. This is the section we're going to talk about that. And that first thing is getting on Sales Navigator. Now, Sales Navigator is $89 a month, unless they changed it with last week. And it's basically a search. It's a database of all the companies on LinkedIn and their profile. You can search by current company, past company, head count, company type, headquarters, United States, Africa, Latin America, Europe, etc. Function, job titles, seniority level, years at company. I like to do, when I'm looking for a software company, I'm looking for a CEO, president, founder that's been in that company for 10 years or more, because I think they have the propensity to want to sell, be tired, versus somebody that's only been in the situation or the role for a year. So that's my rationale for doing 10 years or more. Some of these you don't need to use. You don't need a connection of unless you're trying to get an introduction. First name, you don't need. Years experience. School, you really don't need. But just you do a search. Here's kind of an example of what I did. I'm looking for a company, headcount 11 to 20, 51 to 200. I'm looking for chief executive officer, president, owner, co-founder, funder. I don't want to talk to anybody else. I don't want anybody else to show up on my lead. In fact, I'm going to negate vice president and account executive, even though they have executive and vice president. I don't want to talk to vice president. He doesn't have the authority to make a decision to sell. 6 to 10 years, more than 10 years, and probably more years in that role. Second, third degree connections. I want to add them to basically my community. I want to connect with them. And if I have a great profile and I send them a connection, like Daniel Rustad here, this is just an example, and I send them a connection request, they're going to see my connection request, most likely go to my profile. And if it looks like I'm a serious buyer, and then I can make them money in the future by buying their company, they're going to connect with me. So there are millions of sales leads at your fingertips with LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is when a company fills out and say, hey, I want to do business on LinkedIn. They're creating all the profiles. The people in the business are creating the profiles, and you're writing all about it. You're getting all types of data. It's a great source of deals. So when you're sending invites, you should be doing your homework on this. And I just want to give you a couple ideas on buzzwords to use when sending an invite. You can say, hey, saw your post, 60% high acceptance rates. I saw an update of your company. Great article you wrote. Or, hey, you and I are connected. Let's do this. Buzzwords to avoid. Don't get your connection request just like sent to the ignore column. Hey, you want to get on a demo? Hey, you want to grab a meeting? Hey, let's get an appointment. Hey, I got this agenda. These are just some things don't do on your connection requests. If you're doing them, stop them, because you want people to connect. You'll have them as first connections, which means they see all your content. And at some point, you may reach out to them, invite them to a webinar, or sell them a product, or acquire their company. And because you've showed them that you're worthy of that. So I talked about this earlier. Free LinkedIn, 100 connections. Sales Navigator, 225. Now, somebody's told me that if their connection request is really high, you can actually get higher that number than 225. I'm not sure that's 100% true. Mine always kind of stops at 225. So Sales Navigator outbound connection request math. I want to set some expectations so what this looks like. Hold on. Yeah, that's per week. Joe Jernigan, that's per week. I'll say this, like 3 or 4 years ago, it used to be 100 per day or 225 per day that you can send out. And I was maximizing it. Man, I was maximizing it. My calendar was more full than it used to be, because once you send out 225 connections, crap happens. But as everything, marketers ruin everything. They look for the shortest distance between 2 points, and just like 225, that's a hell of a lot of connections. And my calendar was filling up, but they stopped that. It's only 225 per week. All right. So I've done this math. If you send 100 free version or 225 connection requests, that's 4 times 225. That's 900 monthly connection requests. Over a 3-month period, that's 2,700 connection requests. They either say, hey, connect, but no conversation. They deny your connection request. They ignore your connection request, contact, have no conversation. And that's okay. I wouldn't be afraid about sending that stuff if you're sending the right content to them. If you said, hey, I like your article, or hey, I'm looking for a company to acquire, that helps them. So the only action you can actually take action on are connect but have no conversation. They just connect. They hit the button real fast and they go, hey, I want to connect with John Stoddard. Or they connect and have a conversation. Now, if you're sending about 100 or 225 per week, you should see up to 60 of those responses, A or D. Now, of those 60 responses, you should have about 10 conversations. And this is just kind of example of a top level funnel. You're doing 100 outreaches, 60 responses, 10 conversations. You want to get to 5 offers. We made an offer on a software company yesterday out of Australia. They were doing $3.75 million and very profitable at the bottom end. But the guy was young and he wanted a little bit too much for it. And he wouldn't budge on that. So we took that offer away. Once you're making an offer, it's like playing baseball. You got to get up to plate to get on base. You got to take the swings. You got to take the bats to get on base. And the more you do it, the better you get at it if you have coaches. And LinkedIn is the reason I brought this up. It's like a snowball effect. If you start here, if you start sending out 225 per week, another 225, another 225, another 225, it's a snowball because some people don't check their LinkedIn account for a week. And they go, oh my God, I got a connection request from John Stoddard. They start, accepting it or ignore it. And it starts a snowball. If you stop, all of it's going to stop. It's like, working out. Like if I stop lifting weights, I'm not going to notice anything for a week, but if I stop lifting weights for 3 months, start noticing it's not as tight as it used to be. It's just not feeling right. And you get out of shape. So it is a snowball effect. I want to go back to this. So this comparison here, you got advertising. It's pretty expensive, really risky. Direct mail work. Again, I'm not saying don't do any of these things. I'm just saying the deal, what's happening here. Okay. Kip is coming in sorry, when I interrupt myself there, somebody comes in, I got to admit them. And it's interesting that somebody comes in so late, but cool. Direct mail does work. I do know that. In fact, if you can buy a list from, let's say, Data Axle, you get a great letter and you're doing a mailing campaign, there is a certain percentage. I think it's like maybe 1%, and you mail call, it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's just, I think the deal flow system is LinkedIn has got just a better return ratio. So conferences, somebody invites you to a TED conference, definitely do it. Podcast, we talked about that, how to find them. Emails works, but if you get spammed, your IP address, you could get blocked. It's kind of dangerous. Now the deal flow system, what I'm going to talk about a little bit is, it's lifetime access. You get access to $50 million businesses. You could be active in chatting within 24 hours. That's just how deal flow system in LinkedIn works. So I always like to talk to people about setting goals when you start out like this, because if I said next week, hey, Divine, everybody else on the call, we are going to climb Mount Everest. It's too much of a goal, right? It's too big. You can't eat an elephant all in one setting. So start with smaller achievable goals. Like just lower the bar, rig the game in your favor so you can guarantee a win. It's just kind of a mind game. Play yourself. If I only sent 25 connection requests a day, that could be done in probably 5 to 10 minutes. If I wrote an article and, found a number of things I could post up there for a week, try that. And just like once a day. You don't have to do twice a day. You don't have to do 1,200, pieces of content on LinkedIn. You could just do one a day. of a letter that you see. And make it short, make it small, just kind of get the flavor for what you like talking about and seeing how other people do it. Just study other people. If you see somebody getting a lot of connections or likes or comments, see what they're doing. Just kind of copy what works. Now, if you're going to do a 3-month sprint, start with 1 or 2 posts per week, 25 to 50 connections per week. Sell it and celebrate those small wins. Like at the end of the week or at the end of the month, go, hey man, I did it. I worked it into my schedule and it's a habit, and celebrate those. So this is going to help you. These small goals and these small wins, it's a precursor to winning on a larger scale, because once you create that habit, it just becomes a habit. You keep raising the bar each time. All right. So look, you don't have to be perfect to get this perfect. You don't have to, do it all at once. You just have to get going. Now, that's where I want to talk about that. Now, you could take everything I've talked about, learned here. Yes, I'm going to record this. You saw that. Yes, I'm going to make this available only to respondents. And you could take everything you've learned here, do it yourself. But if you really want to create more deal flow and find motivated sellers, you're going to need a little bit more guidance. And with your permission, I want to talk about my course a little bit that I do. It's called Deal Flow System. You've seen it on my profile. And normally I sell this for $199, but I have a special offer where you can take 25% off. Now, it's a digital course. Go to dealflowsystem.com. It's over 50 videos, short videos of me explaining every little detail about why you want to do something on your profile and how to create more deal flow from LinkedIn. This course is going to show you how to only target motivated sellers, because you don't want unmotivated sellers. You want motivated sellers. And that is a process of volume. And I want to set your expectations about that. It is a numbers game. So if I ask 5 people, are you interested in selling? The possibility of 5 saying no is a true possibility. If I ask 1,000 over a 3-month period, the possibility of 5 saying yes is a higher probability. It's a numbers game. That's just got to set your expectations about that. So the other part is position yourself as a serious buyer. Even if you're a first-time buyer, even if you're starting from zero, you can create intrinsic value, social capital, and you could pre-frame sending out a connection request and they go to your profile that you're a serious buyer. Because you could tell a story, goes, why would I want to sell to this guy? Well, he's done this, this, and this. And that seller may connect with you where he doesn't connect with somebody else. That's why you want to position yourself and pre-frame yourself. How to maximize your LinkedIn to create unlimited motivated seller leads. I didn't show this on this, but when you create a profile on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you want to save it. You save that profile, you name it, and it's weird, but LinkedIn every week will find a new lead that matches your profile and put it in that saved criteria. So every week you come back, it goes like, why did LinkedIn do that? I don't know. I don't know why they just didn't give you all the leads that meet that profile, but they go out and they find somebody new, they put it in there. So it's nearly unlimited leads. And by the way, you want to create a number of those profiles. Let's say if I'm looking for IT companies, save that. Let's say if I want SaaS companies, save that. Say if I want HR software companies, save that. LinkedIn's going to put new leads in there. How to get your motivated seller onto the first Zoom call. This is really important because you can do this all day, but if you're not getting to that Zoom call, nothing's going to happen. You got to get to that Zoom call. What questions to ask a motivated seller to uncover the gold? This is really important because you've got to be able to ask that motivated seller if they are, why they're selling, what are they going to do if they do sell, what their asking for it because you want to qualify, disqualify them, get to the next one that's actually motivated and, you know, has a reasonable size person. Like this guy I asked yesterday for this custom development company. He was actually came back and looked for, hey, we're looking for 1.2 to 1.3 of sales. Well, your EBITDA average over the last 3 years is just an example, $300,000. So we are not going to buy based upon, you know, some sandcastles in the sky, what you think it will be, or what's at the top line, because EBITDA, that's what pays the bills. That's what we eat. So you want to get that as fast as possible. You want to ask for the financials. Look, I can't make any decision. I can't make any offer until I see the financials. It's exactly what Warren Buffett does. Sends a letter. Hey, I'm interested in your company. Can you send your financials? They send financials. He makes an offer. You got to have those. Here's a couple students that, by the way, I've helped 600 students, and I'm including not only people bought the course, but people that I've trained on webinars like this, like the first one, second one, third one, and private webinars. Mauricio, thanks, buddy. Your LinkedIn strategies are killer. Jonathan Nystrom exceeds expectations. Douglas Dow, new contest. Love the podcast. LinkedIn course is stellar. And Henry, worth every penny. So now, if everything doing, I guarantee you'll have 5 to 10 motivated sellers in your inbox, ready to talk about selling your business. If you do everything that I outline in my course, I guarantee it. Satisfaction guaranteed. If it doesn't happen, I will get on the phone with you. We'll go over your profile. We'll go over your outreach. We'll go over everything and do it. And I normally sell this for $199. But for attending the webinar today, I want you to take 25% off. Just go to dealflowsystem.net, type in take 25 off, and the discount ends Sunday, July 31st in 72 hours. Well, you know, less than that. But so that is the training. I love, you know, doing the podcast. I love connecting with everybody that's searching for a job, not a job, but buying a company. I'll connect with anybody doing that. So at this point, I am going to open it up for any questions. If I figure out how to stop share. No, I don't want to stop share. I just got to figure out how to get everything off mute. I'm going to take everybody off mute. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Ask to unmute. You know, there's no button to unmute all. Ask all to unmute. There it is. All right, so everybody's unmuted. I am going to stop share and open this up for questions.